I'm Bill Hill, and I first came to Catalina in 1919, and that was the year Wrigley bought the island. Underneath the pier on the pilings, and we could walk from the boat stand all the way out here to under the fish market, and once in a while we had to put our hand up on the beams to keep our balance, and we'd make bait right here in the bay, and the bait we had a 6-foot net and a container that we put it into, and then we tow it out here into the bay about where that fishing boat is out there, and we would fish and we'd get yellowtail, rock bass, barracuda. And we probably averaged, all summer long, we averaged a yellowtail a day right in the bay and didn't have to go outside at all. One day we had 6 or 7 of them. We really caught a lot of yellowtail here. And the yellowtail would chase the bait around the pier here, and it'd be bait all the time in the water. And with some of it anchovies and sardines, and it was real good bait.
What about that time you caught that marlin in that picture?
That was 1949, and actually I was running a fishing charter boat at the time, and there was albacore out here. So we would go out looking for albacore, and I saw a splash about a mile away or so, and thought I'd look at it, and I'd taken my fishing rod. First day I'd taken my fishing rod along, and I had a flying fish aboard, tied it on and no more, and turned around and the fish was on. And
you caught it with a flying fish?
Yeah, in the old days we used to use flying fish, and of course we had all kinds of ways of tying and sew them together. Of course we usually tied through the nose and had a little loop, so we'd put the hook in that, and so the hook would come back on the side of the face when the fish tried to swallow them straight down. Marlin usually would hit a flying fish or any fish and sort of stun them, and then they'd come back and take them. So when you did get a strike on those days, you had to wait until the fish turned around and came back to pick it up. Not always, sometimes. Now they use jigs a lot, and they get a hook up right away. But it varies.
Different angle.
Anyway, yeah, I didn't fish sea bass very often. I got a few. And the one good spot for them was out where the sewer system used to come out in the water, and that's where a lot of them got them. And then Doug Barnbart got his down at just past Long Point, Italian Gardens they call it, and that's always good fishing in there. And I've caught lots of bass and barracuda in there, and a few yellows, but I would never much to going out at night and fishing. Yeah, on the other side of the island. No, I fished from the early morning, and I always like to fish just at dusk. Be out there and get back in before it got too dark. But the high tide and at dusk was the best fishing for rock bass. And rock bass is the best. And then if you have barracuda, if you clean it or flay the side off, then cut the skin off and take all of the red meat out from under there. And if you get rid of all the meat, cut it in little chunks, and you can't tell the difference between rock bass and barracuda. But you've got to get rid of that dark meat. Oh, it tastes terrible.
That's the worst.
Yeah, and then once in a while we'd go down and we'd spear a shark and get them. I had a long pole, and we could spear them, and the point goes in and then turns sideways, you know, on the spear. So then you fight them on the rope. And then the worst of it is when you got them to the boat and put a gaff in them, they twist and twist and twist. And you had all kinds of problems. Which,
You didn't like that.
No. So I didn't, and the pole was long enough so I could go along the beaches here and spear halibut. And got quite.
What's the biggest halibut you ever speared?
Well, not too big, maybe a 15, 20 pound. I think the biggest one I ever caught, a driving shoreboat at the Isthmus. And I between runs, I put a line in the water and I caught one big one there, and I was able to pull him up into the beach. And he was a big one, and they fed the whole gang down there. And then one night I was fishing off the dock, and a guy came down, wanted to get out to his boat. And so this fellow standing here, I handed him the rod, and I said, well, here, hold on. And when I got back, he had a sea bass on, and it was about a 45, 50 pounder. It was a big son of a gun. We got it up, and I was able to grab him by the gills and throw him into the boat. And so then I gave it to the chef. So we had sea bass. And that guy, I guess, came and got a deal for helping pull him in.
Yeah, totally.
Hey, Bill, how plentiful was the halibut back in those days?
Fish, period.
There were lots of halibut in this bay here. Back in, I think it was 33, I took a water heater, a regular water heater, and I cut circles in the side, and I cut a square hole in the front, and I got lead and made a face for it and put a glass in it. And then I had a garden hose and a single pump. Had a long handle on it, but if you got around 20 feet, you had to stand on it for near to get air down, or the water would come up in your nose. But we could walk in. We walked all along here and speared a lot of halibut in this bay. Walking with this helmet on, and
so you used to wear water heaters and shoot halibut, huh?
This was a water heater that with a cut in the front and cut up over the shoulders, and it worked real good, except our pump wasn't heavy enough.
Right.
So we got out here at the end of the pier where we started getting water in because we couldn't get enough air down. So we never went very deep with it, but we could walk all over.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.